is that much lifting good for you?
You know, the removals industry wasn't slowing down. It's up to the customer to choose one or the other. So if they choose us, that's fine. And if they choose the other one, that's also fine. They've got the choice and they need to choose the right one for them. You can't learn from mistakes and break anything. In the 5.5 to 6 years we've been doing this, hand on heart, I can't remember ever breaking or scratching almost anything.
Yeah, you're saying, for example, you're careful,
Yeah.
you're clean,
Yeah.
you're responsible. I
Okay.
don't know that though.
We knew that the demand was there. It was about who are they and how are we going to offer them this service. A wardrobe that's taken someone 8.5 hours to build, and I have to dismantle it in 35 minutes, package it all up, remember how I've taken that apart, take it halfway across the country whilst I'm doing everything else, and still remember how to put it back together again. So short-term memory is very important. That day has taught me quite a lot of things about the service that we provide.
Well, Edwin, nice to meet you.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
So, thank you for participating in this with me.
Yep.
The whole idea of the podcast is to look at people's paths in life.
Okay.
It's to look at how you've managed to achieve what you've achieved.
Yeah.
It is to look at how people have got to do what it is they're doing. In your case, I think you've got a company set up with your father, which we'll talk about it in a second. The structure of the whole podcast will be the following. We will look at your present, your past, and your future.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for now?
No.
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 Well, in that case, let's go into the first question.
Okay.
Who is Edwin?
Edwin. Well, I'm 38-year-old bloke born in Bath. Lived here most of my life. I have 2 older brothers called Josh and Claude, and a younger sister called Sophia. I'm a father of 2. Got 2 young daughters. Frances is 3.5, coming up to 4, and then we've got Sienna, who is coming up to 2 years old in September, and my partner Philippa.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a big family.
Yes.
Yeah, when I had a podcast with Wendy, she did say she had a big family.
Yes, there's a new generation of kids coming up. My brother's got, both of my brothers got 2 children, and then my sister is younger, so maybe later.
That's cool. And you're born in Bath.
Born in Bath in 1988, which was a very, very different world back then, you know, with all technology and, you know, everything, looking at everything, Bath changes, you know, so it's been lovely to see it change in the way that it has done. But, you know, it's been a good 38 years, and, you know, I've managed to keep my family close, and, you know, we just grow together.
I don't get to meet that many people who have been born and lived in Bath all their life. No.
Really?
Yeah, it's a student city, right? And everyone I've met is
Yeah.
like coming from all sorts of like different places around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, thank you for that. What is that you're doing now?
So what we're doing now, in around 2020, the most sort of chaotic, weird year of most of our lives, and affected everyone with COVID. My dad and I were sort of thinking about what we could do, you know, to keep moving and not just be sort of stuck at home gardening and things like that. There was a change of jobs back in sort of early 2020, and we were sort of brainstorming ideas of what we could do. We were witnessing all of the sort of transportation businesses and logistics feeding the NHS with vans and medicine, and knowing that we weren't necessarily going to go into that business, we understood that people were moving houses, you know, whether or not they're in a rental property or they're in a family where they're downsizing, or moving to a bigger house, or moving closer to be closer to the family. You know, the removals industry wasn't slowing down. So we bought a van. My dad drove over to Bristol one day, and we bought one of the smaller vans that we have, and we still use today. And I remember the first time seeing it. He drove it back to Bath in the Guildhall Market. This amazing silver van. It's not too big, but it was perfectly clean, and very presentable. And he came to the market one day and said, "Look, here you go, Ed. Here's some keys. Have a little drive around the block." And I remember it, like it was yesterday. It was coming up to 6 years now. And just that feeling of being in the van, knowing it's ours, thinking that something is growing from this, something is about to happen. We've got this van, what are we going to use it for? And then, then the real sort of brainstorming and ideas about what the business will be called, who's our target market, how are we going to present ourselves, are we going to be travelling long distance, are we going to be going overseas to France and to Spain and Germany to be moving people's houses. And we didn't really know what was ahead of us, but we took one day at a time and thought about every move, and we carefully looked at other companies, not just removal companies, but other companies that are simple and well run, not just chucking everything at this. It's a structured process to understand who we are and what the business will become. And
this was in 2020, you said?
This was in 2020.
So in 2020, your father bought a van.
Yeah.
Okay, and brought it to a Guildhall Market.
Yeah.
You went on a run around the block.
Yeah.
Okay. When he bought the van, because this is a father-son business, right?
Yes.
When he bought the van, did he have anything in mind of what to do with the van?
Yeah, absolutely. We understood there was a need for moving items of furniture, whether or not they're big bulky sofas, or they could be antique pieces, pieces of French antique chairs made in the sort of 18th century. There's a broad spectrum of different items with value, size and weight, and the way that things should be handled. So we knew that there was a lot of items, a lot of customers. We knew that the demand was there. It was about who are they and how are we going to offer them this service to make sure that we're representing ourselves, and ultimately the item of furniture goes from one place to another in a respectful manner, and nothing gets broken, and everyone's happy.
And you were saying a couple of minutes ago, you were saying about the services you offer and the target audience.
That's right.
Who's your target audience? So
the target audience can literally be anyone. It can be anyone. The target audience is somebody who is looking for the premium service of moving. So it's a very intricate thing we do, but we're very personable. We don't have automated systems in place that can be quite confusing. We don't have an elaborate website where you put dimensions in and there's formulas and calculations. It's all using the human brain to understand what people's needs are and listening to them and understanding what they need. So we started at the beginning with lots of different jobs where we'd be doing more student moves, and we'd be doing small flat moves within Bath. And then as we grew and we understood that anyone can be our target audience and anyone can be a customer, we started picking jobs up which would be maybe coming back from London to Bath, or from Cornwall in the early days, and still today we travel all the way up to Scotland, to Edinburgh and Glasgow. You know, we travel the whole country, so anyone can be the customer and the audience.
Okay, I've got some questions off the back of that. So, for someone who's stupid and doesn't know anything about moving furniture, helping people move into other flats, how do I know that you're a premium service?
That is a very good question. We get a lot of repeat customers. Okay, we get a lot of repeat customers. We've had customers in the last 6 years that we've done 10, 12 jobs for. So the way that we would be the premium service is what I was saying before, with the human element of it. You know, we're very trustworthy, we're very clean, we're very careful, and we look at every item as an individual item, and it needs to be packaged up differently. You know, we can wrap a mirror that is 200 years old and it's worth a lot of money, and we can ensure by looking at that item that we package it up in a way to decrease the chances of any damage. And then also we have certain techniques to move that mirror carefully to the van, and then there's more techniques to ensure that during transportation that mirror is kept safe. We turn up with a smile, we turn up on time, and we ensure that that mirror gets to the customer almost better, in a better position and situation than it would have been in the first place.
I wanted to ask you something. So later on, if I don't ask you this question, say to me something along the lines of, hey, ask me about how we package the mirror.
Yep.
Because I've got a question about the back of that. This all sounds really cool, really interesting, and obviously it seems like you've put a lot of careful considerations on how to move things from one place to another. Let me ask one more question on this. Yes, you are the expert, but how do I know, how do you translate that confidence to me? Because I don't know anything. You're saying, for example, you're careful, you're clean, you're responsible. I don't know that though.
I think the first answer really is we're a very trustworthy business.
Okay.
We're operating in a small city, and we rely on positive word of mouth, you know, from customers talking to customers and around the dinner table saying these guys are very trustworthy and very good. We also rely on reviews from different platforms, you know, people out there reviewing. They don't need to review us. They don't have any benefit to review us. They like to review us to let the next customer know that we're here, we're trustworthy, and you know, we can get the job done for them. So those two things. I mean, it's trustworthy, it's reviews, and being open and honest. So looking at website photographs, they're all photographs that have been taken by myself, and they've been carefully chosen to give confidence to the customer that is looking to book a removal company.
Okay, I see. Word of mouth, reviews,
Yep.
pictures.
Yep, website, Instagram, over different platforms.
And I'll have a question about Instagram in a bit. You said, I think you mentioned like a couple of times now, 6 years ago, but your dad bought the van in 2020 and we're in 2025, and you've been doing this for 6 years.
So it's around 5.5, but it's coming up to 6 years.
Ah, okay, we're rounding it up. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. Who are your biggest competitors in Bath?
So when we were new to the removals game, My dad has never been a removals man or a porter, nor myself. And a lot of the people that work with us, they have never done removals before. So we've got an open eye. We got a blank sheet, an open eye on everything. So we didn't know if the other removals companies in Bath are going to, how are they going to react to us opening the doors and saying, we're here as a new company with zero experience. So what we found out with our competitors is that they understand that it's hard work, and we don't feel like they're competitors. If anything, we work alongside them. So they're not competitors. You know, obviously there's a job. If there's a job which could be for us or for them, and we're both estimating and quoting, and we would both like to have the job, it's up to the customer to choose one or the other. So if they choose us, that's fine. And if they choose the other one, that's also fine. They've got the choice, and they need to choose the right one for them. So when we see them out on the road, we wave to them, and I feel as if they wave back and they think, well, I hope they're having a nice day. It's not a competitive, we don't find that it's a competitive industry like that. Obviously, if there was a company, a removals company, which was disrespectful or stealing or being rude to the customers, then we wouldn't like that. But they trusted us at the beginning to think, well, they're going to be nice guys. They're going to help the industry. So the answer to your question is, how do we feel about the competitors? Is we like them, and they are friends.
That's cool. I think if you read different books on this topic, different books would say, yeah, you might need to crush your competition. You might need to compete harder. You might need to find better ways to get the customer to come on your side.
Yeah.
Equally, there's a lot of books out there that talks about the competition in a friendly way.
Yeah.
In a way that you both improve each other. Yeah. And that's really a nice thing to say.
I think that's probably more like that one. Is, if there's a certain thing that they're doing that we're not, it's improving each other. It's not copying or being like them. We offer our service, and they do their service. Ultimately, it's a very similar thing, but we've got our key points of what we want to stay, and we want to be like that. And it's very important that we don't sort of move off and become something we're not.
Talk to me about innovation. Is there any sort of innovation that plays a part in how you do your job or how you run your business?
There's hundreds of different ways that we're trying to, improve and get customers and innovate and try and work out how we can better ourselves. I mean, in terms of being there in front of the customer when they're looking to move house, we will look in terms of a sort of technological way. We will ensure that we are present on Google. Once they find us on Google, then there will then be a link going to social media, and then hopefully the link then, once they speak with us, they understand that they're talking to a real person, and then they gain trust at that point. Hopefully the combination of everything in any order is where we're looking, and that's, I think, having just one source of that company with a removals company can't always be, the correct thing to do. I think multiple sources to instill confidence and understand what that company is about is very important to us. That's on that side of it. There's lots of different other ways.
Multiple sources, that means you showing up in present, smile
Yeah.
on your face, Google, website,
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. The mirror question, because you were saying that there's ways you package things such that you transport them safer, and they get to the customer in a better
Yeah.
situation than you took them in. Tell me about your background. How did you what did you do before, and how have you got to learn about all of this?
Yeah. So there's a few. That's a good question. That is a good question. There's the combination of, obviously, when you're growing up. I grew up in the 90s, and we didn't have phones, and we didn't have iPads, and I grew up with two older brothers, and a lot of the time we would be outside playing as much as we can. We'd be outside playing, building things, climbing trees, and just being hands-on with things, different items, making stuff. And I'd always be watching my dad making things or fixing things, and just watching and observing on how things can be done, different objects. That's a young age. I then went on to study graphic design at university down in Plymouth, and I've always been a keen photographer. So eye for detail, and just trying to slow things down and have that detail approach to things. When you bring that to the removals industry, there's different categories that you have to be an expert in to understand to be the best. It could be how do we package up a glass Venetian skull that's one of a kind. How do we package that up in a van full of home belongings, and how do we transport that to London? Not just as a one thing that needs to be in a van with thousands of other things. That's important. We need to make sure that is staying in one piece. So it takes thought, and you can't learn from mistakes and break anything. In the 5.5 to 6 years we've been doing this, hand on heart, I can't remember ever breaking or scratching almost anything. And that's very important. That's the fragile section of it. Then you also have a very large wardrobe that's IKEA. So then you bring in the sort of the understanding of dismantling a wardrobe that's taken someone 8.5 hours to build, and I have to dismantle it in 35 minutes, package it all up, remember how I've taken that apart, take it halfway across the country whilst I'm doing everything else, and still remember how to put it back together again. So short-term memory is very important. So that's that kind of intricate dismantling and reassembling that we offer. Then you also have the heavy lifting, a washing machine that's down in a basement that needs to be lifted up around a corner, up 4 flights of stairs, and then into there. So there's different categories of things that you need to know in order to provide the service for removals. You can't just be physically strong. You can't just understand just dismantling and putting together IKEA wardrobes. You have to have the combination of all of them. And that's what's quite unique.
And attention to detail plays a part in, I guess, the
Absolutely.
short-term memory, dismantling something and then
Yeah.
remembering
Yeah.
a couple of hours later how to put it back
Yeah.
together. That is crazy.
So when we started this business, no one told me how to. No one told me in 2020, in 2021, and years to come. I've never really looked at IKEA dismantling things. I've put things together, you know. That's what I have put things together, but I haven't worked in a factory putting furniture together. So that's just things that you have to quite quickly learn as you're working. And what was nice is having a blank slate at the beginning of this business, and understanding that every day is a school day, and every day you need to learn something and remember and take that into the following day.
Talking about learning and taking what you've learned to the following day. In these 6 years, almost 6 years that you and your dad have been doing this, what's the most surprising thing you've learned about this business?
Oh, that's a good question. Surprising thing is how you can turn something, as in moving someone's house. So moving house in terms of order of stressful days is very high up there for most people in Britain and around the world. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult day. It can be very stressful, and it can be hard work, and it can be very emotional. The thing that has surprised us the most is the fact that we are able to take away the emotional side of moving house and concentrate on the physical side and the items that need to be moved correctly. And the thing that has surprised me is that we're able to take the emotional side away and move people's houses day in, day out, and not get overloaded and not get too stressed about the situation.
And how do you do that?
Well, we take away the emotional side of moving house. When I moved house recently, just around a year ago, I had the physical side and the emotional side. And my dad laughs because that was one of the most stressful days of my life. And this was only a year ago. So I've moved thousands of people's houses, but my own was one of the most stressful days of my life. And from that day, I now realise how important and what a great service it can be to pay someone for that service, to take the physical side away, so it splits it in two. Having both together is really difficult to comprehend.
I think I understand. I think let me tell you what I think I've understood, and tell me if I'm wrong. It's because it was your house, and you're doing both the moving, and you're emotionally involved.
Exactly.
But since you and your dad have built this business,
Yes.
Since you're doing the physical part,
Yeah.
that takes away the emotional toll of the customer, at least to some degree.
Exactly. It's I do look back and wish that maybe I had asked another removal company to come and help and do my move. Maybe they could even pack up my house. Maybe they can move the whole thing, and I could be like one of our customers and just sit back and watch the house physically get moved from one to the other. But that day has taught me quite a lot of things about the service that we provide, is that it is very important, especially with a family. If someone is maybe living on their own and they have just a number of items, then maybe they can get away with both. But when you've got a family and you've got a lot of items and you're worried about you're worried about some of the pieces of furniture, because I've got some lovely pieces of furniture that personally I didn't want to get scratched, and maybe that was the mistake, that I maybe didn't trust someone else doing it, because I know myself I wouldn't scratch it or break it. So have I gained the trust in another company, and what would have gained the trust from another company to say, yes, you can do it for me? So I'm very respectful of every one of our customers in the last, well, since we started. I do respect them all for giving us trust in their belongings, and I'm very, very happy that we've been able to give them what they needed, and that we haven't broken anything, we haven't damaged anything. We've always completed the job. Some jobs go right up until 9 or 10 o'clock at night in the winter when it's raining. There's been some really, really hard days, but every job has been completed and everyone has been happy.
And let me tell you something. I think talking about confidence and how you make the customer a bit more confident. I was going to say this later on, but I think I'm going to say it now. I think what helps you is that the way you speak is quite clear.
Yeah.
I like that. Your facial expression gives me that confidence.
Okay.
And I can feel it as we're talking right now.
Nice.
So I think all of that is coming across in a way that boosts the confidence I have in you.
Yeah. Well, what's been something we've been able to do over the last 3 years. So we slowly introduced after a couple of years, was an initial home survey. So we will meet the customer, and we will go and tell them about what we offer as a service, give them the confidence, and also there may be there's always a few items in the house. I mean, look at these amazing guitars on the wall. There's always some amazing items which we can spot out for them. They don't have to tell us. We can spot it out. We can tell them what they are, and we can tell them quickly how we decide and how we would like to package up that item, because we know that that's sentimental, it's a one of a kind, and it's irreplaceable. So we give them confidence on everybody's. You've got some nice pieces of things at home that everybody has them, whether or not it's a guitar, a piece of art, a photograph. So having the home survey for customers has been very good, because not only do we understand what the job is better, sometimes we have photographs or videos from the customer, but going to see it and see the volume and look at the access allows us to create a more accurate estimation on how long we think the job's going to take. And a lot of the time after that home survey, they say, we're going to go with you, we're happy to go with you, and now can you send us the quote? Which is very nice.
It's a really cool way of doing it, actually. That's a really good idea. I have asked a couple of my friends for questions after I told them I'm going to be doing this with you on Saturday, and they were very keen on asking you a couple of questions, actually.
Okay.
So the first question, coming from someone called Robbie from work.
Nice.
He's asking about lifting. You, in your job, you're doing a lot of lifting, I'm guessing,
Yep.
and not just you. He's interested in knowing, is that much lifting good for you long term? And are there any ways you're mitigating for that?
Very good question. I'm stronger every day. I'm stronger every day, physically and emotionally. I do suffer with asthma, and it never really stopped me doing many things at school. But I do find that with this job, it's not just heavy lifting. We're not working in a tyre manufacturing facility where we're just lifting the same tyres every day. We're not doing that. The variety of weights of different things is allows us to continue and be consistent. So yes, you're going to have a heavy, awkward washing machine, but the following day, not the following day, the next thing you lift might be a guitar, which is not so heavy, and the next thing could be a garden pot. So I don't feel like my body is breaking down just yet. I feel like the lifting is good for me. I'm not going to go into the story too much now, but there was a coincidence that happened with some lifting straps, sourcing some lifting straps. Okay, I'll tell you a short story. Was that we did a house move to a place near Radstock, which is just outside of Bath. It was an amazing house. The family were lovely, and it was right on the top of this hill there, in a small cul-de-sac. There was about 8 houses, and that night I was looking at some lifting straps at it's an American brand. It's like a climbing harness here, clips together, buckle at the front, and then it's got this big, thick seatbelt material. So if you're carrying a washing machine, you pull the washing machine to the side, put the strap underneath. You've got your straps on. You tighten up the buckle, and then together, so there's one each side. Together, you stand up, and as you stand up, the lifting straps then lift up the washing machine. Okay, so it's an American thing, and it's used for lifting pallets and things like that in factories. But I went on eBay and I was having a look, and there wasn't any in the UK. There wasn't any. So I had a look on eBay, and it said there was some second-hand ones in quite close to Bath. So I bought them, and I asked her for the address, and it was next door to the house that we had just moved in the day before, which was such a coincidence that it was just next door. You see, so we were there. But these lifting straps that we use protect your back, because you're not bending over. It forces you to use your legs. All right. So if there's anything that's over a certain weight, the lifting straps are great for garden pots, washing machines, anything that's big and bulky. All right. So that's in terms of, is lifting breaking me and bad for me? I don't think so, but you also need to be very careful in how you do it.
I bet, because if your whole business is about moving stuff,
yeah,
having some sort of an injury would be a massive hit to your business.
Yes.
Yeah, I see, and the straps are absolutely helpful, I guess.
Yeah, they are.
And I guess the other side of it is some furniture you take apart and then you put back together, so it's not as heavy as it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another one of my friends was saying he's interested in what's the heaviest thing you've lifted.
Well, the heaviest thing we lifted was actually almost the most recent thing I've lifted. It was on Wednesday, so just a few days ago, and it was a piece of stone. Can I show you?
Please do, yeah.
Yeah. This would be definitely the top 3 things that was lifted, and I'm going to show you. It's a good example now. This is Hanley with the lifting straps on and a piece of stone. It doesn't look very heavy, but it's about this thick, and to calculate it on Google, we were trying to work out how heavy it was, and it was in the hundreds of kilos. And because it was just a solid weight there, we weren't able. We could lift it with the straps off of the floor, but then once we got to the stairs, it almost became impossible. So we had to safely put it down and then we rolled it. You see, so we keep it at a vertical position, but just gently roll it over. I mean, we've done. There was a sculpture for a lady called Amy. She'd been looking at this green sculpture, and it was made of brass, and it had this counterweight, and it was of this lady with her dress flowing, and it was amazing. It was green, and when she moved house, she knew where she wanted this to go. So it was just outside of the kitchen, looking down through the garden, and it was perfect. It was perfect for her for it to be there, but it wasn't necessarily perfect for us because it needed to go down some garden stairs, and I think there was 3 or 4 of us on it, and you have to really concentrate at that point, because if one person loses a grip, it's too heavy for 2. So then one other person drops and then it's gone. We haven't had that, but there's short bursts where everybody needs to be, concentrate a lot about what's going on. And also be clear to the team on what's our plan. How do we get this safely around there? What's the plan of action? If one person's losing grip, we all need to know. So we need to work together as a team. Okay.
That's quite interesting. I never would have imagined how many things go into this sort of business.
Yeah.
Actually, that's very interesting. On the moving side as well is a question for me. What's the weirdest thing you've seen in people's houses? Are you allowed to say it?
Yeah.
Things you don't expect to see.
Yeah. So there's only one person who definitely has some of the weirdest things. It's somebody who is totally crazy and is obsessed with taxidermy. Okay? So you could name me any animal or insect, and they will have something to do with that as taxidermy. This person, so you can have, a whole giraffe's head in the kitchen, or you could have the vertebrae of a rhino. You can have there's animals or pets that are taxidermy. People get dogs and cats, but there's this person is very well known, who is a celebrity and is on the television all the time. So, but we don't ask people to sign NDAs, but we're just respectful, and we don't talk about it. People's business, people's lives are important not to give away this information. We have done quite a bit of work for a lot of people that are seen on the television screens all the time, but we don't talk about it, and they are just another customer. And that's why they're repeat customers. But this particular, it is strange, isn't it? The person you see on the television has the craziest things on they just like nice things.
That's quite funny. Fair enough. I'm not gonna ask you who it is because obviously privacy and stuff.
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
Another one of my friends, Aaron. Aaron has been a massive help with the podcast. He's always giving me feedback, and it's absolutely amazing.
Nice.
He was interested in the father-son relationship because you two work together. You've built this business together since 2020. So how do you deal with that relationship over time?
Yeah, that's a good question. The father-son relationship, we have. It's not so much about our growing up together or how much we love each other and how much we look at each other and and admire. There's not. That is a separate thing to the business. The good thing about this particular business is that because the more we talk about the business and on a day-to-day, nothing really gets missed. So if we weren't talking as much as we do, then things might get missed and the business doesn't kind of, maybe there's something we've missed. But because we're talking all the time, not in a stressful manner, we just talk about it. If when we started the business, we weren't offering the service correctly and we were getting bad reviews or complaints, then I don't think that would be very easy to deal with, because I would feel guilty. If I went to a customer's house and I was rude to the customer, or I didn't do the job right, or I broke something and said, no, you pay for it, then they're going to call my father and say, your son's been rude and he hasn't done the job very well and he's got a problem, and then there's conflict. But luckily enough, we trust each other to do, we trust each other to do our own job. My dad doesn't come out with us and lift heavy sofas. He does his thing and we do ours. So the partnership, luckily for us, works very well.
Is he working more on the financial or on the admin side?
So what my dad does is he is dealing with all the inquiries that come in from the website or from a leaflet that someone's given us a call and they're inquiring about moving house. So he does that part, and then also talks with the accountant. So he does that side of it, which I'm very happy he does, because he's very good at it.
I see. And is this trust that you've built with him that allows you to manage the relationship?
Exactly. It is the trust.
And that trust comes from honestly and openly talking about disagreements or different situations you might come across. I'm guessing.
Yeah. What also happens is my dad will talk enough with the customer to understand that the job that we are going to be starting isn't too big for us to complete, if you see. So we don't just say, yeah, that's fine, we can move your house, and when we turn up there's actually 2 or 3 days worth of work, but we've got another job the following day. We don't want to let anyone down, so we need to make sure that we have enough time in our day to complete the job ready for the next one.
I get this. Okay, that's cool. Here's a question from me. You have kindly brought a picture of your vans.
Yeah.
And they're always parked up in nice locations.
Yeah.
I'll put some on the video as well.
Yeah.
You said you have an eye for detail and you like photography.
Yeah.
So tell me about your Instagram, because when I was looking at your Instagram, every single picture I've seen is like off the van.
Yeah.
In not necessarily isolated locations, but there's nothing around the van normally. So like there's nothing parked around the car.
Good
so
question.
Like, tell me about how you like market that on Instagram.
So the reason why we don't have things or looking in the back of the van, because that's not us. That's not ours to take photographs of. This is ours. If it's pieces of furniture or things in the back of the van, if I was the customer, I wouldn't really want a photograph of all my stuff just posted over the internet. This is people's private items. So we do sometimes, we can be more of a discreet service. So the reasons why it is all of the photographs are generally because of the van is that is our shop front, that is our tool, and this is a good indication of who we are by these are the vans we have. We don't have a big large lorry and we turn up and someone says, oh sorry, I thought you had a bigger vehicle. This is being open and honest to say these are our vehicles, you can see they're clean, and I don't want to have people's furniture and belongings and faces on Instagram. I don't think that that's, for us, the right way to go about it.
It's a really fair way of approaching this.
Yeah.
Again, looking at your Instagram, obviously it makes sense what you've just described and showing the tools you have that allow you to do the job and your business. How else are you going to improve the marketing? Or do you think that's enough? Just taking pictures of the van?
So the marketing is definitely one avenue to increase visibility and hopefully generate more jobs. We're actually at the point where mostly every day is full up with jobs. This week we've got a run of six days of 6 jobs. So currently we don't need to do any more because there's enough there. It's waiting. If we put too much time and effort in that at the moment, we might have too many jobs coming in. So there's a certain level where we're happy when we can fill up our diary, and we can. The main thing at the moment is not to overbook ourselves. I mentioned that before. We do home surveys so we can make sure that we can get the job done in time and clean the van and get everything ready for the next one. The reason why we don't need to be pumping more time and effort and money into marketing right now is because we don't need more short-term jobs. We're visible. And we're happily visible there. The target market, who we're looking for, at the moment is correct. The people that come forward to us, they know what we're about. They don't get confused. They don't feel like they've called the wrong company. They know who they're calling.
Final questions. Is there anyone you're looking up to? Or anyone who has influenced you along the years?
Well, other than my dad?
Could be your dad, could be,
Anyone I looked up to? No, not really.
Just your dad?
Just my dad. No, in terms of the business and, I always look, my brothers they are older than me, and obviously I'll look up to them. I always have done, and I'll always look to see, look at their good qualities and try and remain similar, but be unique. My whole family, I don't really look up to anyone within the industry. I'm new to the industry. It's not as if one day I woke up and saw this sort of Superman figure, removal man, and thought, that's who I want to be, because there isn't one, So, no.
That's cool. Is there anything you would like to say to your father if he was listening to this?
Well, he might watch this. Well, I've enjoyed. The thing is, I've enjoyed what we have grown, and I've enjoyed the fact that we haven't learnt from mistakes. We've learnt from learning. We haven't made mistakes. We haven't honestly in the last 5-6 years, we haven't really had any disagreement about anything. If he doesn't think something's not quite right, then we'll just lean towards that and say that's fine. And then I feel the same. I don't think I'm pushy with him on it. We just be honest, and vice versa. He knows the jobs are physically hard, and we all live busy lives. He knows that is hard, and I know the jobs are physically hard. They are incredibly hard, some of them. But then some days you get a job which can be. We do a lot of work with Neptune currently, and we have done a lot of work with Anthropology, the high street retail furniture shops, and one day you might have a whole house move from within Bath, of all of this household goods, And the following day you could have a very, very upmarket, desirable sofa from Bath to London. And on that second day, it's not the physical hard work, it's the drive. So the jobs are varied, which allows us to continue. And what Dad does very well is tries to structure them. I know he does. He tries to structure them in a way that isn't just all of the same kind of jobs, because that will burn you out. So there could be a run of 3 hard jobs, and there could be another job which is slightly softer to your back and give you a little bit of time to recover, and then you kind of go again. But yeah, it's been a good journey, and I'm looking forward to more of it in the future. It's an interesting thought, because when I've ever done office jobs or other jobs, which is the more of the Monday to Friday, you will have that sort of Sunday night feeling where you think, oh, weekend's gone, I'll start again Monday. And I'm very thankful that I don't have that feeling with this job. It can be Sunday night and I don't have that feeling anymore. I'm just looking forward to getting the job done. And I know that before I was working in the removals industry, I can't, I never really would see them and sort of understand that what they're doing. And when you're doing it, you understand the importance, and also the fact that it's people need the service, people need it, and we're enjoying it.
I'm glad. Thank you for answering the question. What is your success story going to be?
Enjoying what I do, trying to get the balance of work and family life. As I said, I've got 2 young daughters, so it's trying to find the balance, and my girlfriend, obviously. I need to try and family, and it's getting the balance of everything. Work is hard, but enjoyable, and the amount of job satisfaction you get at the end of the job is quite unique. You're leaving the job, you've got nothing in the van, and all you're leaving is a wave goodbye to the happy customers, and that satisfaction is nothing I've ever felt before. It's a weight off our shoulders, but then it's probably a weight off their shoulders. It's a nice feeling. So I think the success story would be, for the next 5 years, is to try and continue to get the balance right, and to continue to learn, about where the business will go. But currently, we're not in a hurry to expand and buy loads more vans, and we're not looking for that currently, because why fix it when it's not broken? We're continually getting 5-star reviews, and everyone's happy. So we're just going to continue on with how we're doing it.
Good luck with that, and
Thank
I hope it all works out. And you've already got 5 years, 6 years of experience, and work-life balance, and you've got 2 daughters and a family. So I hope it all works out. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't. I didn't think of any questions. Should I have any questions?
Not necessarily.
No. I'm. Thank you for chatting. That was very nice.
I appreciate it as well. Before we actually finish this, I asked you at the beginning if you got any allergies, and you said no. It's perfect. So I do this at the end of every podcast. This is a chocolate bar called Dare. It's for you.
Okay.
It's my favorite chocolate bar.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, as a kid does the...
Never seen that before.
Yeah, it's so I'm from Romania.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure the chocolate is not Romanian. But as a kid, obviously I used to have like some chocolate bars, and I always thought to myself, this chocolate bar does not have enough chocolate.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when I was 16, 17 in high school, one of my friends comes up to me and I think she says, look, have you tried this chocolate bar? It's like, no. She gives me the chocolate bar, and it was then when I realized this is my favorite chocolate bar. It's got like enough chocolate in it that you'll never want for more.
That's a great gift. Thank you.
No worries. So I hope you enjoy it.
That is amazing.
And I will say it's been quite warm here in Bath, so you might need to put it in the fridge and then an hour later
nice.
Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Edwin.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.